Hello! I'd like to talk to you guys. I realize I've been making a lot of weird videos lately, mainly about like comedy and stuff, and just trying to be really funny. And you know, YouTube is a neutral thing. So I decided to go really different with my channel and just make it about anything I want to. I'm not going to talk about comedy or cubing all the time. But now it's cubing video. So I want to give you some tips and tricks on the 3x3. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get to it. So, my tips and tricks on the 3x3 really have to go with the way you solve it. Now, this is mainly for fridges, but you can use 1,000 different methods. I know currently about 40 methods for the 3x3. But I'm going to teach you the basic steps of the fridge. So, first, create a cross. Make sure each layer is lined up with each center. Then, you get the first two layers in one step. So these first two layers in one step, instead of getting one layer and then the second layer last. Then, you solve the top layer orient the top layer in one step, called the OLL. Then, you permute every piece in the last layer, and you solve the cube. So let me go into some walkthrough solves. Now there's a couple of tricks that comes into doing cross fast, and it's basically be color neutral, kind of be color neutral, because it's much easier to spot the cross. Right now, you would think that the orange is the easiest to do, obviously, because this, you can push this up here, and you already have 2 solved, 3 solved, and then you can solve the 4th. But what I bet you didn't know is that is the second easiest way to, that's the second easiest way to do it. You see, one orange edge is already solved, and the 2 opposite edges are right next to each other. So in 4 moves, I solve 3 edges, and then I solve the last one. Basically, always track your 4 edges for the cross and the 4 corners that you need to solve. Always track those. What I was doing, let me give you another walkthrough. Let me scramble all the cross again. Now, the yellow, no, not the yellow, the orange is still the easiest way to go. So now I know where each piece is. I know that I could do a U2 or R2, fix this piece, and then put in the last piece. So U2, R2, solve that edge, fix the last piece, and you automatically have that. Now, you might ask, how do I also track the 4 corners? Well, it's basically memorization, really just basic, comes down to preference. So again, this one's green, so I'll memorize where the 4 corners are. So 4 edges here, and memorize all the moves to get the cross, but I will always know where the corners are. The corners are here, here, up, and here. So these are where the 4 corners are, and this, and this. So now I have to memorize all the moves. So it's U2, no, D, U2, R, no, L, R, and then D, R2, B2. So that's all the moves, and I memorized that in the expression time. So, and boom. And now I know where the 4 corners are. They're close to each other. Again, that I don't memorize where the corners go. I just memorize that if the corners are close to each other, because most likely they will be. Memorizing the corners, and if you want, memorizing the edge pair that goes along with it. So after the first 2 layers are solved, you're going to work on this. And basically, it comes down to also memorizing a lot of the algorithms. I actually know this algorithm. And there we go. But for different cases as such, let me do the reverse of that. So let's go back to this case. Then, for 2 look, you would solve these 2 edges. Obviously, you would solve these two edges, and you would basically use FUR and go like that. But sometimes when you have the bar, you would do this, but when you do this, if you have two solved, you know that you have one of these two corner pairs. If you have one solved, then you have, and then you look at this, you have either the chance of all the corners being solved or a diagonal pair, most likely a diagonal pair. When I bring this up, I know that this is here, and I can apply the algorithm needed. Full PLL is the exact same thing as the OLL. You just really need to know the algorithms and memorize the patterns. PLLs are really hard to memorize, by the way, at least for me. So I use 2-look. So when 2-look, the second you're done with the 2-look OLL, you look for the two yellow and put them where they need to go. Then you can use one of two algorithms, and it basically comes down to where the edges are. In this, there are two algorithms that I use. There's the L, which is L, U, R, U prime, L, U2, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And that's basically one of the easiest algorithms that I can use to do this two-corner swap. And it's a shorter algorithm, it has one less move. But the fastest one to perform is the T-perm. And for the T-perm right now, yes, it would be the best thing, because this will be solved, and you know that one of these cases. And if you really memorize it, then you know that it's going to be an R2. So now I can do this, and go skip straight to the R2. By the way, memorize those two edge cycles in R2 and R. And then there's MU2 and then M. The M2 case is this. I call that the M2 case. The MU2 case is that. So that's really all the tips I have, really. Solving a cube just comes down to practice, and really, you get faster as you go along. I don't get faster, I just do this in my spare time. But I've picked up a lot of things on solving the cross in about a second or two. And my most average time is 4 seconds solving the cross, because I memorize the moves in my head, and I track down. It's kind of like counting cards in poker. When you or blackjack, we have to decide if it's a hot deck or cold deck. With the corners for the F12, you need to learn if the corners are hot or cold. And basically what that means is that it's hot if a lot of the corners are away from each other, like this corner's here and this corner's here, then that's a hot. But if it's cold, where either they're all in the same thing, they're like over here, like this case where they're in one of these three things is a hot case. When they're all in the top layer is a hot case, or when they're on opposite sides, like the red's here and the red's here, is a hot case. Everything else is a cold case. I mean, okay, I'm doing complete opposite. Everything else is a hot case. That's a cold case. I'm sorry. But, yeah, so that's all I have to say, and thank you for watching.